WVDM, we back at it once again. We coming in live. Oh yeah, I think we coming in live. I just want to let you know, of course, we got the one and only community activist. I'm talking about Georgia Allen. She's back at it again with more topics, more information for the community. Be ready, be prepared. Georgia, where you at?
Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Yes, it's Thursday. And I am back. Anyway, good
Back in the,
afternoon.
you back in the studio because last week you weren't here. You was broadcasting live from another scene. From a
Right.
location.
I did it on location. And that was a good thing to do because it's
Yeah,
sometimes good to get out into the community and talk to them face to face and directly. So
no
that
doubt.
was good. And we'll probably have to do that from time to time because there's a lot going on in the city of Virginia Beach. We just saw the name of a college or university right here in Hampton Roads about to change their name in 2026, going from Virginia Wesleyan to what? To the Baton University. So
What's
things
that?
are happening fast and we just got to stay engaged, stay involved. Hello, Bernita. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We are excited. As always, I tell everybody vote, 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 vote. Today's topic taxation, intimidation, and exploitation. Because we're hearing a lot about what's going on around the city of Virginia Beach as it pertains to the 10-1 voting referendum. We're going to do as we always do. We're going to talk about the topic. We're going to talk about our Kwanzaa principle, give you a faith message, and then go to our regular greetings. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Our Kwanzaa principle for today is KUJICHAGULIA, self-determination. To define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Do not allow others to define us, name us, or speak for us. That is critically important. And we have to be determined to do that. We have to be determined to make sure that the things that are going on in our community is in our best interest. That takes determination. Our faith message comes from 2 Chronicles 15:7. But you take courage. Do not let your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded. And I like that scripture because there are a lot of people running around pretending to be doing things of value when, in fact, a lot of them are opportunists. And yes, are things getting done? Absolutely. There are some things that are getting done. Will it bring long-term benefits or is it a blink and then they move on because they're looking for an opportunity more for themselves than sustainability in the community? I bring you greetings. Yes, it is Thursday, and I am Georgia F. Allen with GA for Just Is. As always, I want to thank, of course, Mr. Henderson Vaughn, aka Captain 85, aka the Dream Maker, on the one and only WVDM, who has been generous enough to open up the airwaves to bring our listening audience a conversation for information, a conversation for correction, as well as a conversation for transformation. And these are all very important things because so many times people are out here speaking, but they're not giving you real information. They're giving you misinformation. And so we have to be careful when we look at these people and watch them. We have to watch with a third eye. That first and second eye, they don't always tell us the whole truth. It just simply give us some information that is not necessarily in our best interest. It's kind of like what Dr. King said years ago, that when there was all these things going on and young people and others were were upset, and he was saying how those particular type of riots were it was the noise of the unheard. Those riots were the fighting back because they were not being heard. And a water hose to cool young people off in the summertime does not make policy. That's a simple action that the cities were taking to cool someone off for a moment, but they were still hot for the rest of the year or the rest of the summer. Our disclaimer, as always, many of you may have heard of me before, and you know that I work in the civil rights arena as well as a community advocate. And I've been doing this for a number of years, not just a few years, but a number of years. Therefore, the various positions that I take are mine and mine alone. I do not speak on behalf of any groups or any organizations. With that being said, hello, everybody. To all of those of you who are listening out there, thank you so much for joining me today. I don't know about you, but I am so very excited about the work that we're doing here in the city of Virginia Beach for justice and fairness. Is it an easy work? No. But as someone said, God never said it was going to be easy. He just said it was going to be worth it. Okay. So we're doing work now to make it better and make it easier for those who are coming behind us. And with that being said, we have lived in a city that has literally operated an illegal voting system almost from its inception. In the city of Virginia Beach, which used to be Princess Anne County, it had a voting system in Princess Anne County and moved that voting system over to the city of Virginia Beach when the city began in 1963. However, the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. The city of Virginia Beach never changed the way their election system worked. They never changed it. But think about this for a moment. What else happened in the year of 1963? Dr. King had a march on Washington for justice, for fairness, for jobs, for healthcare and housing, way back in 1963, the same year that the city of Virginia Beach became a city, the same year that it ended their relationship of county form of government to a city form of government. And for those of you who might be a little bit confused, they never changed the number of members on the city council. It was the same number. They never changed the structure. They still had a city manager. So in essence, not a whole lot changed. The only thing changed was the fact that in 1963, they got more land that they kind of, what do you call it? I want to make sure I use my words correctly, because we always have to worry about they annexed land from cities, okay?
Oh, that's what they called it.
They annexed land from cities, which allowed them to grow and become a larger city. They also combined old Princess Anne County and pulled all of that together with the ocean front and the northern part of the city. And that's when it became a full-fledged city of Virginia Beach. And so we want you to understand that none of this stuff is easy. Fighting for equity, fighting for justice, fighting for fairness is not easy. And it can be an ongoing process. But one of the things that the citizens understood when the changes was coming, they understood and were aware of the challenges of the communities here in the city. they were very much aware of the Jim Crow's laws and segregation. They were very much aware of their children not being able to attend the schools that were considered at that time the white schools, and they could only attend certain schools, which were the black schools. So in the city of Virginia Beach, we had one black high school in this whole entire city. At the time, it was around 88,000 residents in the city of Virginia Beach, which was pretty large if you think back to 1963. That's a pretty large size, because even today we have cities now that barely have 88,000, and some even have less than that, and they are complete full cities. And we want you to understand that it's going to take some effort on all of our parts in order to make sure that the work that we're doing individually, collectively, in groups or in organizations, as it pertains to our voting system, that we must be engaged. We must be engaged. We can't count on other people to do work that we can do for ourselves. So my topic is taxation, intimidation, and exploitation. And you say, well, why is that your topic today? Because there's all these signs all around our city, because when you fight against the powers to be, or when you fight for justice, you will have an opponent. And so our opponent decided that they want to put up messages like taxation without representation, because the people, we the people, recognize how important it was and how important it is for us to have the type of government structure that we want, the type of election process that we want, not the type that big businesses want, not the type that the influencers want, not the type that those who have been able to buy seats on city council, who have been able to pick and choose persons to operate in a manner that may not be in the best interest of our people, or who have even put people in office that they decided to get behind and say, okay, well, we like this guy, so we're going to make him look good. We're going to dress him up. We're going to paint his face. We're going to do all of this stuff, and we're going to help him get someone to come into town and create a baseball or basketball camp or something along those lines. And so then all the people will say, he's doing a good job. All the people will get excited and they'll start clapping their hands and they'll say, well, he's doing more. And the whole time, the goal is to chop his head off and get the votes that they need for those bigger things, while we have a little piece, a little candy bar, a water hose, an ice cream cone. And so we got to be very, very careful when we look at what is being done. Doesn't mean that we don't want those things done. It's just we are saying, don't believe the hype. Don't be fooled by what you see. If you look at the national things that are going on a national level, you will hear them throw tons and tons of things out, like, we're going to sue this person. And the whole time they're telling you they're going to sue this person over here, behind your back, while your eyes are watching over here, they're stealing from you over here. And what is happening a lot of times when we hear about, yes, this event took place, but that event may have cost the city less than $5,000, while they turned around and gave $5 million over here to someone else. So be very careful that what is glittering, recognize that all that glitters is not gold. And So we're talking about taxation without representation. That's a nice little slogan that the opposition is using to make us feel that if we have a representative in every district, we somehow don't have full representation. Well, if we go back to an old system or go back to a modified system, we can end up with a 7-district system with 3 at-large members, and ultimately 5 of the people sitting on city council could all end up in the same district. Because guess what? The mayor doesn't have to be in a particular district. He can live anywhere in the city he wants. So what's to stop the mayor from moving in North Beach? And what's to stop them if they have those 3 at-large seats? What's to stop them from putting all 3 of those at-large seats somewhere in North Beach? So now you have the representative for the district. You have your 3 at-large members living in that district, and your mayor decided, because maybe someone slid a little change, he decided he's gonna move to North Beach too. So guess what? You have five representatives in one district, and the other districts only have 1 representative each. So how is that allowing you to have more representation? It does not. So when it comes to taxation without representation, that form of government will allow the majority of the city to have limited representation. Well, if you got 5 people in one district, all you need is 1 more vote. That's it. You need 1 more vote, and you can pass anything that you want to pass. So be careful when we see things that are going on in our city that looks like it's glittering. It may not always be as much glitter as it appears to be. One of the other things that you see, taxation, intimidation, and exploitation, is when people are on city council and you see them dancing to the music of certain groups, that might be intimidation. So I'm not going to call it intimidation. I'm going to say it could be that they're being intimidated to vote a certain way. So I'm going to give you a basketball camp in exchange for your vote. That could be considered intimidation. So it's when you're compelling people with a threat, or to force people by threat to do what you want them to do. You could also use threat, which is a form of intimidation, to prevent them from doing what they know that they should do and that they need to do in the best interest of their district and the people that they are supposed to be representing. So I'm talking to you about taxation, intimidation, and exploitation, because it's important for us to understand that when we elect people to office, they get money to run for positions. If you're fortunate and you have a system like we have currently, where the districts are much smaller, you now have an opportunity to run with integrity. You now have the opportunity to be able to meet your neighbors, talk to your neighbors, shake hands with your neighbors, because you're not running in a city of over 400,000 people. You're running in a district of approximately 48,000 people. And again, what we're concerned about is intimidation, because taxation is going to be okay with the 10-1 voting system. It's not going to be okay with the 7-3-1 voting system. So we're saying yes to the 10-1 referendum. And we're saying yes because we're not fooled by those persons who decide that they're going to be in charge of every seat on council, or at least 6. That can be a problem for the rest of us in the city of Virginia Beach. Again, we have to be about self-determination. That KUJICHAGULIA, that has to be our mantra, because we got to stay the course. We got to fight the battles, and we can't give up because it looks like one thing, while the whole time that they give a little bit of candy over here, they're giving other groups a ton of money somewhere else. And yes, do we need to make sure that our communities have resources? Absolutely. But we don't want them to be exploited while they're giving them resources. We want those resources to be above board. We want to make sure that they are sustainable, and we want to make sure that they don't give these resources and then take them away. Because if we don't have a firm foundations, people give stuff all the time and snatch it back. So we're not looking for someone serving in our council who is in fear of working on behalf of the people. We want people on council who can stand up to special interests, who can speak up for the people, and who can make sure that when they're being offered something, there's no strings attached. There are no strings attached to that offer. So it should be a legitimate business offer where when that offer is made, it is made in a manner that is good governance. It's not made in a manner where the quid pro quo is one that people always like to use a lot. There are good quid pro quos, and there are intimidations. There are exploitations when those things take place. So make sure that the persons that you are electing to office, that they understand the difference, because sometimes people just don't understand the difference. With that being said, I think we're coming up on a time to make some announcements and acknowledgments and commemorations. First, I want to acknowledge and celebrate Irvin Magic Johnson. Irvin Magic Johnson's birthday was August the 15th. He was born in 1959, so he's still young. He's still real young. And if you know anything about Irvin Magic Johnson, he's one of the best power forwards ever. He played for the Los Angeles Lakers, and he had a medical issue kind of at the beginning or midway in the HIV/AIDS time frame, and discovered that he had AIDS, got help, got treatment, went on to retire from professional basketball, and went on to become an entrepreneur. Started his own business. Hey, Magic. Love me some magic. And today he continues to speak up for persons who may have the AIDS virus and the HIV virus, and but not full-blown AIDS. And he does speak up for all persons. And so we want to celebrate, even though it's belated. It would have been a day early if I celebrated you last week, Magic. So it would have been a day early because you were born last Friday. But we just want to celebrate you because we love what you're doing in the community. We love the work that you're doing, the movie theaters that you're buying, where you're creating jobs for persons, other businesses that you've purchased and created jobs and created opportunities for persons who work for you to also go into the industries that you have built to be able to be entrepreneurs as well. So we want to give kudos to Magic. That's the only birthday I have today, so that's why I talked about him a little longer. Okay, next I want to talk about Nat Turner's Rebellion. That took place August the 21st through August the 23rd. And I think we are on August the 20th. We are here at August the 21st. And that was in 1831. The Nat Turner's Rebellion. It was a slave uprising in where? Southampton County, Virginia. Ain't it something? Virginia, boy, you are always in the midst of something or another all the time. I can't. Always, Virginia. Always. Okay. With this uprising, it resulted in the deaths of over 50 white people and an estimated 100 to 200 Black people lost their lives. Now, Nat Turner was trying to free enslaved people, which is a novel thing to do. To be willing to risk your life on behalf of others. And so we want to thank him, even though he is now an ancestor. We want to thank Nat Turner from Southampton County, Virginia, for being willing to put his neck on the line to try to make things better for those that came behind him. And so for that, we say thank you to Nat Turner.
Which is now part of Franklin.
Which is now part of Franklin, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next, we want to talk about someone that's one of my favorite all-time people. Let me see. Just want to make sure I get them all in order. Okay. I want to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm going to talk about it this week, and I'm going to talk about it again next week. On August 28, 1963, Dr. King delivered his iconic I Have a Dream speech at the March on Washington for jobs, for freedom, for justice. And we spent a lot of time talking about I have a dream. I want to be judged by the content of the character and not the color of our skin. But we also know that he had much more in that message. He also talked about a guaranteed income, that most of these people who want to quote Dr. King, they never mentioned that he said that. He also believed that there should be housing for everybody. Nobody should be unhoused, but they didn't want to quote that. He also talked about how wrong it was in the richest country in the world to have poverty, but they don't want to talk about that. So Dr. King, the actual anniversary will be next week. And guess what? On Thursday, because all of the Thursday this month are divisible by 7. So it's 7, 14, 21, and 28. And somebody listening out there knows that I love the 7s. So I know they're listening to it. Nope, she didn't do it again. Yes, I did. I did it again. So with that being said, we want to commemorate and celebrate the work of Dr. King. We want to commemorate and celebrate the work of our ancestors like Dr. King and Nat Turner, who were willing to give their life on behalf of an entire race of people who were being discriminated against and who were being enslaved, had to deal with Jim Crow laws of segregation, of not even being able to sit at a counter. All of these things took place under these two guys between 1831 until 1929, when Dr. King was born and later got involved in the civil rights movement. You gotta keep in mind that was 102 years. 102 years later, you know? And so we're still fighting these fights. We are still fighting a lot of these fights. And to think that our city began in 1963. It's hard to believe that these people were living, knew about the March on Washington, knew that the segregated schools was not fair. And before anybody say, well, they made a mistake by integrating the schools, but that's not what Dr. King and the civil rights movement asked for. They asked them to make our schools equal, same resources, same brand new books, and not the raggedy books that we had. That's what they were asking for. If you got a science lab in the top of the line for that period of time, then the Black schools should have the same thing. So they were asking for equity back in 1963. They didn't ask to be integrated. They asked not to be pushed in the back of a room somewhere. They didn't ask to be integrated. They said, don't tell me I got to pay the same price for a sandwich as you do, but I can't eat I can't eat or sit at the counter. So I'm not asking for integration. I'm asking for fair treatment. With that being said, we have a few more announcements. One is upcoming on Monday, August the 25th, 2025. There will be a community listening session or a community town hall in District 4. Amelia Ross Hammond will be the person in District 4. She is the city council member for District 4. And if you're not doing anything, and I'll read it to you, if you're not doing anything, she calls it a District 4 community meeting. It's going to be Monday, August the 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. We want to encourage you to go to this community meeting. It is at Williams Farm Recreation Center, located at 5252 Learning Circle. If you're living in Virginia Beach, even if you don't necessarily live in District 4, sometimes it's beneficial to go to council meetings, go to these district meetings to get information, because maybe when your council member had their meeting, you weren't able to get to that one. So again, they want to make you believe that having individual districts is somehow wrong, but having these individual districts allow you to get to district meetings that perhaps if it was in your district, it might be at a time when you're working, or it might be at a time when you have to get your children to another event. This will allow you to still be able to attend a district community meeting and still get information about what is going on in the city of Virginia Beach. Next, we have an upcoming event on the very next evening. It is called a nonpartisan town hall meeting. And this nonpartisan town hall meeting is in support of the 10-1 voting system. So again, if you are available, if you don't have anything already going on, there will be a town hall meeting. So in order for you to learn more about the 10-1 voting system, it says yes. We're asking you to say yes to the 10-1 referendum. It is going to be held at the Mount Virginia Beach, 620 Baker Road, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23460. There will be a number of persons in attendance on the panel. And if you're there, you will see them when you get there. We also want to make you aware that on August the 23rd, that's Saturday, right? Yeah, that is Saturday on August the 23rd. NOBLE, which is the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement. And they're going to be having a sneaker ball over at the Rivers Casino in Portsmouth, Virginia. If you're interested, I'm sure you can Google them, get the information on this particular event. But we do want to support our Black police officers. We want to continue to encourage them because we need more people who look like us on the police force. Again, our community does not dislike law enforcement. We just dislike bad policing. And we need them to get that through their head. We only dislike bad policing. Good police officers, we're fine. We call 911 more than anybody, but we don't want them breaking down our door when we call them up. So if those of you who can support our national organization of Black law enforcement, that is on the 23rd. And with that being said, there is one more event. I don't know if you have the flyer to it, but also on the 26th, it is the day of the Women's Equality Day. It's called Women's Equality Day. That is when the 19th Amendment was codified and women finally had the right to vote. And so we want to invite you to an event. It is online. It lasts 1 hour from 4 until 5 p.m. Also on the 26th, I will be one of the panelists, and we will be talking about what has been taking place over the last number of years with regards to women's rights, women having the right to vote, and also what has changed. Has anything changed? Is everything the same, or have we seen any real impact with the right to vote that women finally achieved? Of course, the Voting Rights Act was passed, I want to say like in the 1920s. However, they did not fully receive voting until the 1970s. And we want to make sure that those of you who can watch it, again, it's going to be online, so you can watch it from your home. You don't have to go anywhere. And it is from 4 p.m. in the afternoon until 5 o'clock. So it's a very short event. It's called the League of Women Voters of Virginia, celebrating Women's Equality Day, Voices in Leadership. And it's called a fireside chat. The thing I like about this is they're not trying to take up all of your time. There will be 3 people on the panel. Dr. Sharice Jones-Wheeler. She's a professor and author of Walking on Water and Flying. There will also be Crystal Jones. She's the founder of Vote, Lead, Impact, and author of Ella Goes to City Hall. And finally, on the panel will be Georgia F. Allen, first vice president and chair of religious affairs for the Virginia Beach NAACP. And I think it's going to be quite interesting. I've met both of these young ladies online. We had a conversation together. They've both been working extremely hard in their respective areas. And I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. So if you're not doing anything, again, there will be a link that you can click on, and you'll be able to do this virtually. So you don't have to go anywhere. You just watch it online, and you can get information with regards to what has transpired over the last umpteen years, and has it been effective? Where are the shortcomings and more? So with that being said, let me make sure that I have done all of my announcements. This took a little longer than I expected. Okay. Well, we are back. I got to stop doing that. Okay, there we go. So for those of you who didn't see it initially, That is it. Virginia League of Women's Voters celebrating Women Equality Day. And that again is going to be on August the 26th. It will be from 4 until 5 p.m. If you don't have anything to do, please come online. Please join us. If you click on League of Women Voters, I'm sure you're going to find it on their website anywhere and everywhere, because they're excited about this. And I'm also excited about speaking and hopefully bringing some information to you. All right. Well, we are back. We are back. We are back. We are back. And with regards to the topic, taxation, intimidation, exploitation, we find that a lot of times when changes come, there's a lot of pushback. People don't like change. A lot of people do not like change. They're comfortable with the way things are, and therefore they're not interested in doing anything new, anything different. They want to keep things the way it is. And if they feel that they have control, they don't want anybody to take away any power that they have. Changing voting systems a lot of times is about giving the power back to the people. Giving the power back to the people. And so if I'm a person who's been in a position where I can control and be what they call a kingmaker, I can determine who sits on our city council. I can determine what rules and what laws are passed. I can determine whether or not I get the next contract. I can determine whether or not when it's time, when there's money in the pot, I can determine how that money is being directed. I'm not overly anxious for the people to recognize that they didn't have a lot of power. And now when the people are beginning to recognize that, wait a minute, we've been paying taxes all this long time. And when city council they meet and they're giving the same people the money over and over again. They can't seem to find any new contractors. These small businesses that are coming along that are doing great work, they never get any contracts. And when they do get the contracts, they are sub to a sub to a sub of the prime contractors. And they don't make a lot of money being the sub to the sub to the sub to the sub. And these are people that we know. Maybe they're people we go to church with. Maybe they're people that we work with, family members. Well, now that the people understand, with a 10-1 voting system, and each district has a representative, they understand the value of that. But the other thing they understand is how important it is for the people to determine who these people are sitting on city council. And we want people of integrity. We don't want people who feel that in order for them to sit on council, they have to go and beg for the so-called kingmaker to bless them to be on council, to give them a check to be on council. And then once they get on council, they have to give up their ethics. They have to give up their integrity. They have to give up their standards, their principles to sit on council because of intimidation and exploitation. Well, Virginia Beach says enough already, enough of that already. We don't want our council members being exploited. We don't want our council members being intimidated. We want them to come from the community, and we want to have like-minded council members who are not overly interested in being bought and paid for. We want council members who can stand up for freedom, stand up for justice, stand up for our communities. And yes, they can work together and they can negotiate together for the best interest of districts and the best interest of the overall city. We are back. Okay. Now, one of my favorite people is Reverend Dr. Vernon Johns. Reverend Dr. Vernon Johns was a forerunner of Dr. King. He was a pastor at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. And one of the things you might hear me say a lot, if you see a good fight, get in it. Well, I got that message from Dr. Johns. And I feel that way about the 10-1 referendum. I feel that way about the lawsuit. Here's a young lady fighting for justice for her children, but also fighting for justice for other children who may be in similar situation, who may have a disability, or who may have autism, or any of the like. And so she decided to sue the city. And they needed someone to join that lawsuit, and I agreed to do so. And this has been since 2018. We have been in this fight. So Reverend Dr. Vernon Johns, you are our ancestor. But let me tell you, I saw a good fight in the city of Virginia Beach, and let me tell you, I decided to get in it. And I've decided to stay the long haul. We still have a lot of work to do. We still have to continue to educate our community, because one of the things that is very easy for persons to do is to make something look good that is not necessarily that good for us. It can have some benefits, and we do need them. By all means, we do need them. But we also need to make sure that we're negotiating for the long haul and not for a temporary situation. The other thing we want to make sure is that the people who come in to assist us are not being exploited as well. So when we see someone get excited about a street name after a high-profile person that they don't even know, but now they might get a chance to meet because they're serving on city council. So now they get to do the glad clap and flap their arms and flap their wings, because now they get to meet somebody who grew up in the Salem area or grew up in the Tallwood area. That is not necessarily anybody who's genuinely interested in our well-being. They're probably interested more in a photo op than whether or not there's any type of long-term benefits. And I'll use an example as someone who serves in the U.S. Senate. And many people like him, and I like him, but I don't think he sends the best messages on behalf of our nation. And the reason why I don't think so is because he's been serving he served as a mayor in Vermont. He served in the state legislature in Vermont. He served as a congressman from Vermont. He served as a U.S. senator from Vermont. And after all those years, the only policy, the only legislation we can find is him putting names on post offices. That's a problem. And if we have a similar situation in our city where there's someone, the only thing that we can find is them taking photo ops, that is a problem. We want substantive things to take place in our city. And if you can photo op and do both, that's great. But if the only thing that he does is photo ops and then turn around and vote against the interests of the district that he's serving in, that is a problem. The same thing with any of the other ones, regardless of race, creed, color, age, ethnicity. If these people are serving on our council and the best they can do is a photo op, and they don't answer the call of the citizenry because they read a piece of paper that someone who was against the 10-1 told them how to vote, that is a problem. That is a problem. Again, today's topic, of course, is always about voting. And we're saying yes to the 10-1 referendum. We are saying yes. We are saying yes. And for those of you who go to Black churches, you know there's a song that they sing. And that song, it says, yes, 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 oh yes. Well, we need you guys to stand firm in your conviction. Do not be swayed by the tinkling of cymbals and the itching ears. Do not be swayed. Know that that we are out here working in your best interest. And if someone ran and said that they were in favor of 10-1 and then sat on city council and said, no, I read a piece of paper and I've changed my mind, that's a problem. Especially when your community, and I mean not just one particular community, but all over your district, they are saying we want 10-1. We also know that 81% of the citizenry in the poll that the Weldon Cooper Center took indicated that they would prefer 10-1 over a combined at-large district system. So, do you believe the Weldon Center or do you believe your lying eyes? Do you believe the Weldon Center or do you believe your lying eyes? So with that, I'm coming to a close today. It is all about making sure that we stand firm, that we do not allow people to intimidate us. We do not allow ourselves to be exploited, because our message today is about making sure that people don't put out these messages with regards to taxation without representation. That was the old way of the way that our city was designed with the 731 system. That was really taxation without representation. If you want to know, ask people of Burton Station. If you want to know, ask people at Atlantic Park. If you want to know, ask people in SeaTac. They were being taxed without representation. 10-1, we are being taxed, but we are actually getting representation. With that being said, vote yes on 10-1 referendum. Thank you. And that's all for me today. Can't hear you.
I forgot to turn my mic back on. Another great show and a great topic. And don't forget, the vote is now in the people that got to go to the polls, the 10-1. So you have to understand that if you don't vote for it and get the people to the polls on November, then they win. Only way a person wins is when people don't show up to get the 10-1. So with that said, don't forget, it's all up to the voters now. Make sure that you get the people to the polls. And most of all, if you got young people that's going to be 18 by November the 1st, you really need to get them to the poll.
By November the 4th, they can vote on election day. If their birthday is on the 8th, they turn 18 on November 4th, election day, they get to vote on their birthday. Okay. Yes.
That's the key to this whole thing, because it's their future. Mm-hmm. It ain't we here navigating through the waters, but it's them that has to make the decision to get out there to the polls. And if you get them to the polls, it don't matter what they say on city council or who, they out. Well, with that said, don't forget to share this with somebody and let people know that GA for Justice ain't playing no games, ain't pulling no punches, because it's time to win, win, win. The 10, 1 is what's at stake. And with that said, don't forget to join her next week. She'll be back again, doing it again, and bringing you more information. As she say, I hate to steal your quote, for transformation. Don't forget, it's Georgia Allen, the GA for Justice talk show on WVDM. Until next time.